Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You are here with your channel host GBHL James
and GBHL Jamie, and it's time to speak, friend and question.
Speak, friend and question, and we are back, of course, where Speak, friend and question will hopefully be filmed going forwards, which is, of course, the mines.
Oh.
The mines. How you finding it?
It's cool.
You're loving all the green
stuff. It's colder here in the mines.
It is a little bit colder down here in the mines, but never fear, we're wearing our magic GBHL channel host polo shirts from Readers. Shall we think it's Desolation Stop Point in a week?
A week's time,
a couple of weeks.
This goes out on...
Goes out today.
Today, yes, it does, yeah. Sunday. Yes, in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, it is actually Sunday, so you're almost getting this live.
Yeah.
Can you say that? Can you say almost live? Does that actually work as a term, phrase?
You're getting this hot off the press.
It certainly is, and this is the first time, GBHL Jamie, that you are in front of a camera since Throne of Skulls.
Indeed, yeah.
It is, isn't it? I'm not just saying that. It's not like the plans here saying this is the first time you're getting this information. This is the first time that you're in front of the camera since the wonderful announcement.
Yes, I believe so, yeah. Well, I recorded with Harry on Tuesday the rest of Middle-earth Deadliest Warbands, but yes, for the first time on the channel since.
So I've got a Speak Friend and question for you.
Go on.
How do you feel?
It's great. And I called Middle-earth Strategy Battle Game years ago.
You did?
Years ago.
When we first met?
Yeah.
When we first met, you said that.
They'll merge into Middle-earth Deadliest. Middle-earth Strategy Battle Game.
Well, I said it in my in one of my videos, and I think I said it also in the last Speak Friend and question, that there are so many of us that would be so cool if it did that, but there was always that doubt, wasn't there, that would they have the license to be able to do that? Like, was it explicitly for the
films?
That's it, and the branding from the films. But what's clear is those two branding little bits of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit will just under that wonderful
makes
banner.
sense. It just makes sense.
Jamie, we can keep doing this for years.
Unboxing videos will come back.
Content. You've got lots to look forward to, guys, and we're both committed. This is also a great opportunity because I've not been on camera at the same time, although I've mentioned this a few times. Congratulations, Mr. Giblin.
Thank you very much. And if you don't know what that's in reference to, check out my Patreon update, my last Patreon update.
Yeah, and a very, very good video, and just check it. I mean, we do have awesome subscribers.
Yeah.
Look at the wonderful comments.
I know, it was amazing. It was really yeah, it was touching to read them all. So thank you all very much for your kind words.
But never fear, although GBHL Jamie won't be having his Patreon and sort of not taking those 2 days off to do it, it does mean that GBHL Jamie and I will be trying to get together on a weekend. On a weekend, at times, possibly on the odd Saturday evening. It's tougher for me because I'm off of It's tough, but we're still trying to get together. But also because you work in Steamforge during the week.
I'm in Stockport every evening, so...
Exactly, so that's going to mean that we're going to be able to get together for that. And we've got a few ideas as well, so cool. I'm sure you do as well. So we can keep on going for years, as we have already been doing in the last 4 minutes of this video, as ever. So we'll just get started with the first Middle-earth Strategy Battle Game in Speak Friend and question. Yep. Who's it from?
It's from Matthew Zammit. He says, yes! Can't wait to listen to it. Cool background, big smiley face.
It's a cool background.
Questions. Have they made any hints as to any resin-based armies, Lake Town, Mirkwood, Gundabad, will be re-released as box sets, or will they simply add on to army lists? No information, I guess.
No, I think it was hinted. So remember, in fact...
Boy, disclaimer, straight now.
Yeah, I mean, we don't normally do a disclaimer on this show, normally because we talk rubbish.
Yeah.
But we need to point out, because there might be some new people watching this, that we do not work for Games Workshop.
I work for Steamforge.
He works for a different wargaming company.
Yeah.
We are both fans of the game. We love the game. We are just fans, just like you. And we only know the information that 100 other people who bought tickets for Throne of Skulls heard as well. And anybody could walk into that as well, by the way. So it wasn't just tournament ticket buyers.
Indeed.
And it was hinted at that existing plastics would continue as existing plastic. I don't think that stock is running low. But in terms of the resin-based armies, nothing was really hinted at. Apart from the fact that Adam did say that there have been some strange decisions with some of the box sets, and he did reference that originally those designs were designed to be
plastics,
to be those plastic box sets. So I doubt that they will now come back as plastics, but they might come back as Resin Forge Worlds. We do not know. Here comes Bilbo and Jane into the studio. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Bilbo. You're gonna have to do one, buddy. Go into the other room. This is the Mines of Moria. I don't know how you managed to get here without dying. to work now as well. That was nice, wasn't it? That was to watch it. It wasn't actually Bilbo. We just didn't want to frighten you all. So nothing solid.
No. We know as much as the other guys and just have a camera to talk on.
Yeah.
So have they made any hints? Or will they simply add on to army lists? We're not sure. Can you confirm that Games Workshop will be releasing plastic box sets rather than just their resin kits like they did in the previous 2 films?
We can't confirm anything.
No, we can't confirm anything. What it's likely to be, though, from what was said, is the production is moving to the Forge World side of the business, so it will be in resin.
Yeah, so new stuff, that's what you're likely going to see. But, you know, it looks like they're open to ideas in the future, but it doesn't seem like that is directly on the cards.
No.
I think that Adam said something about, you know, if there was like another plastic, like starter set, that it might use existing plastics that we've got at the moment to do that. But again, this is not 100%, this is less than that, so we shall see.
And finally, are you actually suggesting that Games Workshop may actually release or attend Ardacon and again give another seminar?
I can neither confirm nor deny either of those facts. Just know that there's a lot to look forward to, and that GW are absolutely committed to, or seem to be committed to, working with the community and independent events and YouTube and magazines and all those kind of things.
Rather interesting. The Age of Sigmar Facebook group that is Games Workshop have made, we're promoting the southwest or southeast Age of Sigmar independent event, which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. So if you, I can neither confirm nor deny, but maybe sometime we will. But nothing is ready.
And he says, finally, really can't wait until the new stuff comes out. Hope to add on to my existing Battle of the 5 armies. Trying to balance between studying and painting as much stuff as I can. Hashtag support my Middle Earth hobby. Thanks as always, guys. Matthew, it doesn't really have the same ring to it, does it?
It doesn't have the same ring to it. It's going to be a
support your Hobbit hobby still works.
It certainly does. I was going to say, I mean, because there's tons of things. The Great British Hobbit League. I think you've just got to keep it like that.
That's what it's known as.
The GBHL is like a brand now, isn't it? You know, and the Great British Hobbit League is like a brand unto itself. So yeah, thank you very much for your question, Matthew, and well done for getting the first one in for this week's special episode. We might run a little bit this week because there's quite a few questions. Yeah. Next up, we've got Smiley Face 1717. He's put, can a shield bearer use its in defence of the king? A special rule to protect another shield bearer. Thanks as always.
Yes, you can. Easy one. Mr. Dr. TJ. Throne of Skulls was so great, although my Lake Town did take a hearty thrashing from the channel's own Mr. Harrison.
Was he smug?
Yeah, I bet he was.
Was he there going?
Well, sorry mate.
Oh, unlucky.
A great first tournament experience, and it's got me super excited for the Desolation of Stockport.
Desolation of Stockport! Boom!
2016.
Yeah.
Put some explosions behind us.
No, that might take up another 60 gig. Desolation of Stockport's very exciting, and well done for getting involved in your first tournament. I think the Throne of Skulls is a good one to go to as a first experience to sort of meet lots of people, yeah. Meet lots of different people. And it was a great atmosphere as well, because it wasn't really geared towards any kind of competitive gaming.
Throne of Skulls, yeah.
Throne of Skulls wasn't. Desolation of Stockport will be.
Oh, it's an 80 pointer, it won't be. No,
it won't be. It'll be really good fun. And it's 400
points, minimum 4 models.
There we go.
Stop Aragorn and twins running rampage.
So there you go, guys. Next up we have got Andreas, the Norwegian Viking. He has put, what does Dane look like? Pose, helm, no helm, etc. Well, this actually popped up on my phone when you first asked it as a question, and it wasn't a complete image, was it?
No.
It's a work in progress. So let's just get that out there first of all.
Sculpts can change every day. I've found out. So
yes, they certainly can. They certainly can. But it was very cool. I mean, you got an instant round of applause from everyone, like woo! Lots of whooping and cheering.
It's like we were American.
It was, yeah, it was. So from what I remember, he was in kind of a really cool, almost is it Helmsdeep Gimli when the axe is down? Was it Pelennor Gimli when the axe is down?
Yeah, that one.
Like that, yeah. It's kind of that kind of thing. That kind of pose with the hammer thing. And I think he was wearing a helmet. He was wearing his helmet, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember.
I think
I had started drinking at that point.
Started? Way before then, all of us. But the detail on it, I mean, this is a key factor. The detail on it, and I think this is what we've got to really look forward to with the Forge World resin.
So they can do a lot better than Finecast or Games Workshop standard resin can do.
Yeah, and I mean, even then, I mean, my experiences of new Hobbit Finecast, maybe apart from seeing other people's Finecast troops with spears.
Yeah, that's the thing, is when you see the long spindly bits.
Yeah, I mean, but with some of the heroes, they're incredible.
Yeah.
But I think with the level of detail on it was just incredible, and it's early doors ish, you know, so lots to look forward to. And I can categorically say that, in my own opinion, that it absolutely blows out of the water any unofficial thing that I've seen. No offence to those guys, but
no,
it really is.
You're up against Games Workshop's best, so.
Oh yes, they were like knights stood there to the side, weren't they? You know, you could almost have this golden glow coming around them, and like really shiny armour and stuff like that, because that's what it felt like. They were stood there, and the work looks like it's going to be awesome. So thanks very much for that, Andreas. Next up we've got Philip Curran.
Oh, Andreas also said you should come over for a holiday here in Norway, now you've got the beard for it.
Yeah, before that I'm pretty sure that I would have just been pillaged and chucked to pieces, maybe enslaved.
Kicked out the country
if I made it alive. But now that I have a beard, I might actually pass off as a Norwegian. They speak pretty good English as well, so maybe just try and fudge an accent.
Yeah.
Mind you, you're the language man.
No, I don't know Norwegian. Norwegian.
But we always get this. I think I commented. I think I said this in last week's Big Penny Question. Someone said, "Oh, well done, Jamie, for pronouncing my name right." You do have a background in language. You did German, didn't you?
What, did German GCSE?
Yeah, but you do seem to nail it with the pronunciations on the channel. On the whole, apart from King Boneseye.
Yeah,
you know, he's the only
got
one.
That one. That's not a real word though. So. Right. So Philip Curran's next. It says melon.
Melon.
This is amazing news. Games Workshop has dropped a bomb, and the future of the Hobbit hobby looks well bright. Well bright. Within the last couple of years, Lord of the Rings and Hobbit SBG has experienced rapid growth in terms of both players and tournaments, and now we know that this did not go unnoticed by Games Workshop. I think that the GBHL podcast and all involved in it can claim that they had at least some small part in supporting the Hobbit hobby.
Well, we did coin the phrase.
Yeah.
that is our phrase. Yeah. We did come up with that.
So back when you guys began the GBHL podcast, did you ever think that the channel and the SBG community would grow to be this big, and that one day Games Workshop would shake up and reinvest into the system, not just in the new releases like The Hobbit, but make sustained effort towards longer term success? Not really, no. I didn't.
I did. I was the new kind of optimist.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of the new kid on the block that, you know, like all the experienced players didn't really like very much, still don't. You know, but came into it with sort of raw enthusiasm of what was going on. But it was a good combination, because Jamie was coming at it from, he actually knew the game, he knew the people involved in the game at the time. So that kind of combination went really well. But remember, when we did start it, that was just as The Hobbit was sort of being launched, and I think it'd just been launched not too long before.
No.
Yeah, we didn't start it when it was Lord of the Rings.
No.
But it'd been a long time, hadn't it?
What? No. I'll say I was agreeing with you.
Oh, right. Oh.
I was saying, like, no, we hadn't
Usually people
started.
say yes when they're agreeing.
No, we hadn't started when it wasn't The Hobbit.
Yeah, so we only really sort of got together and really started pushing this when the Hobbit releases was coming out. So I guess we really wanted it to work from that point of view, and you know, we were riding on that whole thing of we had lots to unbox.
Yes, there was lots of easy content. Oh, those were the days.
Now we have to be far more creative. So yeah, I think the time when it maybe seemed most kind of desperate was kind of around the Desolation of Smaug kind of point of view, when you kind of realised that maybe it hadn't really done as well as what.
Yeah, well, I think the real sort of nail in the coffin, it felt like, was the Battle of 5 Armies source book being a free.
Oh yeah, well that was
White Dwarf thing. It was like, oh, they've not even made a book for it. Oh god.
Yeah, it did seem to be going that way, but I think from the start, you know, kind of optimistic, and remember the tournament scene was relatively new. You know, there was a couple of tournaments going on. There was a group of maybe 15 people that would try and maybe get around stars, maybe a little bit more when that was started. So really, I mean, you started to try and increase the coverage for those tournaments.
Yes, yeah.
Generally, and of course that's happened, and those tournaments are doing great, and those TOs are doing fantastic jobs, and really form the backbone of our league. So the fact that we've been able to create an exposure for that and show people around the world that the game is played and there are people playing the game, I think that has helped. So
most definitely.
Thank you very much for all of your support, everyone.
Next up is Daniel Theory.
Hello, Daniel Theory.
Is it Daniel Theory?
No,
That's
no.
Callum Frith. I've just jumped one.
You have? I thought so.
Yeah.
And he didn't ask anything else, did he? No. Okay, Callum Firth. Hey James, really good background. Think it looks very professional and cool. Well, we want to keep on improving what we're giving you guys. Jamie might have sort of moved on from doing the Patreon now that he's got a full-time job, which is great. But that doesn't mean that as a group of guys that we don't want to continue to improve what we're doing here. And I've only been able to do this because of the guys who are backing me on the Hot Gates gaming. And even though the stretch goal for getting these is a long way away, it's just one of those things you want to do. We want to keep making this better. So if that can then translate over onto the GBHL podcast and the content that we all do here, then that's only a good thing. We've already started talking about some of the little things that we want to do, new intro videos and cool stuff like that. I have a question for next time. You may have already answered, and I may just be being dumb, lol, but are there more Lord of the Rings Hobbit models being released? You may know and may not be allowed to say, but what would you like to be released, and when do you think potentially? Will they be doing new factions, or will there be new poses of the same factions? Such to say, a new box of Gondor troops with poses as well as the originals. Who start off with that bit?
Yeah, so we don't know anything, is the...
No, we can be reasonably sure about some things, and then we can be speculative about others.
Yeah.
So the things that we can be reasonably sure about.
Some models that are out of production currently will be put back into production.
What they will be?
We don't know though.
We certainly don't know. We also know that it looks likely that the first lot of releases will go along with that wonderful day model that we saw, and therefore it seems like the first kind of journey book, as it were, because it seems like it might be going that kind of way, will be for all of that cool stuff that we didn't see. And so that seems to be sort of the first kind of wave. But the wonderful thing about there being a product plan for until 2020, and obviously probably means the license goes on quite a bit beyond that, is that then really we can live in hope for all of these things that we had no idea
wanted for.
You know, and I think one of the points that was made was about, like, I think made the point as well in one of the videos, is that, you know, sometimes they might look at it and go, oh yeah, so let's say Gandalf the Great mounted, goes for a fortune on eBay, hard to get hold of, miniature, we've both got one of those, we're cool. You know, they might look at that and they'll go, well actually, you know, we've not actually got a decent enough, a detailed enough sort of master sculpt to mould from to make some new ones.
Let's make a new one.
Let's make a new one. So I think that's the kind of thing that we might see going forwards with that. But that's where we are, that's all we know. So the next part of your question was...
Finally, if you were starting.
Yeah, finally, if you were starting a collection, would you wait for the new models so you would spend wisely or buy before? What I mean by wisely is wait to see if you prefer the old or new poses, so making sure that I buy what I like the most. If you've already answered, I apologise. No need to apologise, buddy. No, we're here to help. And if you can't say, as you need to keep quiet, then don't worry. Cheers, Callum. So if he's looking at some old poses and he's thinking, I like them, but am I going to prefer the new stuff? What would you suggest to that gentleman?
I'd say still get the old stuff. Like, I prefer the old Radagast and the old Thranduil myself, despite the new ones being cool. So if I'd sort of let them go and then picked up the new ones, I was like, oh, I've waited for the new ones. The old ones are now gone. They're going stupidly priced, and I preferred them, or I thought they fit the character in my mind better.
Yeah.
I'd be a little bit disappointed in myself that I didn't pick them up. And in the grand scheme of things, you know, you might be waiting. You mentioned Gondor troops here, so I would assume you're hinting towards, Minas Tirith force, that you don't know when they're going to be released. You could be waiting 4 years down the line for when the Gondor gets released, and you've not played with them that time. So you might as well take the hit and get the troops, get the models you want, to use the force you want, and then if they come out and they're cooler, then you'll rebuy them and not feel as bad. And if you prefer the old ones, you've got them already.
Think about all of those times where we've you know, thinking, oh, I might get, like, I'll tell you a good example is the Captain of Erebor.
Yeah, it's like, he's cool, but I don't really need him, you know.
Exactly.
I'll get him in the future.
Cool pose, but really, was I ever really going to use him? Probably not, you know, because they're better heroes to lead them and stuff like that. But he was a cool model, and it was one of those where you're like, well, I might not really get him, and then he went.
But I really wanted him.
Do you know what? Maybe I should have got that model. Yeah. So I always think that if you have an inkling to go towards buying a certain model, then do it.
Go for it.
Spend your money. That is supporting your hobby. So get on it, guys. So next up is Daniel Theory.
Daniel Theory says, hi guys, James, I can sympathise with your itchy neck. I haven't put a razor to my face in 2.5 years, but now when I trim, the itchy neck comes back with a vengeance.
And like little spears, aren't they, growing out of your face, like a curved back round.
Scratchy. To be honest, I feel Games Workshop would be stupid not to keep the Lord of the Rings hobby going, as it's clear to see that the passion and devotion that the hobby has from those not related to Games Workshop is incredible. It is by far and away the show-stealing game system for them. Quality models, quality and easy to follow scenarios, enjoyable rules. It is a shame that it didn't get the recognition of the other two systems.
We should cover that point first, because there's some big sweeping points there.
Yeah.
So, we talk about it didn't get the recognition of their other two systems, but Lord of the Rings strategy battle game was huge.
It was massive. It was pushed in every store. There were in the DVD releases of Lord of the Rings, there were pamphlets inside saying, you know, go to your local Games Workshop, live the game, live the films, sorry. And it was massively pushed. And Lord of the Rings has almost arguably was the burst of the fantasy bubble people have accredited it to, because you went from this mass battle system to the small skirmish game, which had the same themes as, and you lost players originally. Everyone, if you ask a wargamer, do you have some Lord of the Rings models? They go, oh yeah, I've got a few.
Yeah.
I've got some. I picked it up when it first came out, but I didn't think anyone played it.
Sales-wise, I'm pretty swell I've heard that sales-wise, I mean, you had 40k, which has obviously always been a flagship thing, but I think that at its peak, that Lord of the Rings was around
outselling fantasy.
It was massively, and still did do until relatively recent times. Even though it's not necessarily been doing as well, it's probably been more expensive for Games Workshop because of licenses and all that, and a bit more frustrating for them. But the Hobbit necessarily didn't do that, but it was huge. It was absolutely huge before I was involved in it or anything. And you know, in terms of being a really good gaming system, I have heard that lots of people really like the gaming system. I think some serious war gamers who maybe sort of tried it when it was going through its journey book stage. You hear like when people like, oh, I tried it when it was the Fellowship, and it was a bit of a kid's game. When
it was very early, it was very much a game of 6 I win, 6 to kill, near enough all the time, because you had the strength 3 guys versus defense 6 guys, and it was. Games took a lot longer and were a lot more grindy.
Yeah. So I think that that has evolved over time. There's certainly some really interesting. There are still some really cool things that I think that could be ironed out in Hobbit rules, and maybe this does give an opportunity to do some of those things going forwards. But I have to agree with you in terms of quality models. You know, especially now, quality stuff, and the scenarios are pretty good as well.
Yeah.
So the question was.
My question is this: if you could take a job from Games Workshop working in their Middle-earth division, would you take it? Yeah, I probably would.
It's going to sound really mercenary. I love the Hobbit hobby and everything. It would depend for me on a couple of factors. One, would it pay enough for me?
Oh yeah. There's obviously considerations, but if it all met your requirements.
If it met my requirements, so if they paid me enough, they allowed me to sort of keep a share in a hand, a biotic fit, sort of on the side, on kind of partner kind of point of view, then I probably would, actually. The moving thing would be an interesting one.
That's the one, isn't it? It's like move to Nottingham.
Moving to Nottingham, because James obviously has a salon here and the like. So would I need to move to Nottingham? To be fair, it's only an hour. I would commute. I'd be quite happy to get up in the morning and get down there. Go across Woodhead Pass and get there. It only takes an hour and a half. Yeah. It's 3 hours out of my day. If I got to do some cool stuff to do with Middle Earth, I think I would. So if anybody would like to offer us a job, you better not say that. You've got a new one.
I'm set for a good year or two. So he says, I know I've had my application to their stores rejected a few times. However, on reflection, I feel that mixing my hobby and my job could be a bad thing, and after 15 years, I'd hate to fall out of love with it now. Cheers, guys. I don't think it particularly is. Like, I have started working for Steamforge full time. I've been there about 6 months now, and I still love Guild Ball immensely.
I can talk about this. So I understand what you're saying completely. In that, like, you know, I started doing started running a fitness business because and getting involved in fitness and turning it into my job because it had been my sort of hobby and my therapy, as it were. And then over time, and it was nice to be able to then share that with people. And I got a huge amount of sort of self-worth from helping other people with their journeys, build confidence and stuff. And you know, as that's gone on and on and on, and it's become more and more, I suppose, trying to make it a business. Unfortunately, the paradox is you get to do less and less of the things that you enjoy doing, so it can become a little bit harder to, not at the moment, but to sort of go and do what you need to do for yourself and remember why you love doing it in the first place. You know, if you've been working in the gym all day, then you have to be really dedicated to sort of go, right, well, I've been in here 12 hours, I've been doing fitness for people for 12 hours, the gym is now closed, it's 9 o'clock at night, I need to go and do my own stuff. So I do understand that. Apart from yourself, what about the other guys at Steamforged? Do they still play Guild Ball? Because I know that they all were really into it originally.
Yeah, they were all very keen. Jerry started playing again recently. He fell out of love with the game just because he was working a silly amount of hours a week. Matt started playing Infinity because Infinity was his first love, and he just enjoys being in the world of the gaming side of it. But he fell out of love with Guild Ball. Little Rich doesn't play war games anymore, and the guys in the sort of the building area, they all play Guild Ball as well.
That's cool.
So there is a strong still sort of, you know, we all do enjoy playing the game.
That's good. I think that's important and a good point to bring up at that as well. I think it was one of the questions on the seminar, wasn't it, where someone said, how many hours do you and Jay Clare get to play the game Tad and Troke?
Yeah.
You know, and I think it was hinted that, you know, well, they have to sort of play test and do things for about 8 hours a day. You know, Jay Clare loves playing the game just as much. I know that he's relatively sort of new in that role. Will he get tired of that? I can see it being very exciting because he's getting to create stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the thing of it, isn't it? Once you're inside and you are affecting the game in a positive way, like
look at Friday for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was so cool.
So cool being able to make changes that you know might make it through to the final part of the game and just yeah.
Very, very, very cool. Great question, Daniel Theory, which brings us to James Keelty. He was like, hi, were there any other miniatures other than Dane announced?
No. That was the only one announced, wasn't it?
No, other things were hinted at.
Yeah.
So if you saw Dane, what would be the natural thing that you would likely see?
Yeah.
So
there were lots of those sort of answers, weren't there? It's like, well, what would you do if you were the Middle-earth team?
yeah, well, and
that's the way to think about it when you ask these questions. What would you do if you were in control of Middle-earth strategy battle game?
remember Jay Clare is our Great British Hobbit League champion from last year, who loves the game. Not only brings really good competitive armies, but brings absolutely awful armies as well that just look really, really cool. And he's a very good player, but he loves the game. He's part of that team. Adam Troke is similar as well. He's got a passion for Middle Earth. He wrote the Hobbit rules. You know, he really wants us to work. He's a nerd like us at the end of the day who is a fan of the game, wants to make it work, and that's why this has been pitched to directors and then this is continuing, you know, in a lot of ways. So you have to think, what makes sense next? If Dane is coming out, what do you think you'll see? So will we see Ram Riders? Will we see Iron Hills Dwarves? Will we see mad siege engine things? I cannot say for certain. I can probably guess slightly. So that's where we are. Yeah. That's where we are, guys. That was a short question. Do you want me to take this one?
Yeah.
Josh Tetley, thanks for the clarification, James. Pre-desolation of Stockport excitement is starting to kick in now. What, we've only 2 weeks to go?
Yeah.
I've been excited since Redos for this bad boy. And I can't wait to get involved in my first tournament. It's your first one?
Wow.
Amazing. This is what we want. New people coming in. All of the Throne of Skulls posts on Facebook were great, and I hope you had a fantastic weekend. We did. Me and you had some bump and grind on Saturday night. Seriously, we had a great time together. I don't think you can remember. Now in relation to last week's question, Dwalin or Thorin to lead my Warriors of Erebor warband for Desolation of Stockport? It will be my first time using these guys, so I have no experience with them. Dwalin will let me fill out the warband, but if I choose Thorin with some upgrades, then I'll have to drop a few warriors to stay within 400 points. From your experience, who would you go with? Thanks guys, I look forward to meeting you all in a few weeks' time. We look forward to meeting you too, pal.
I think Thorin. Thorin fits the role nicely and has, you know, he's got good stats.
Thorin is awesome.
Yeah.
Thorin is awesome. Although the way the rules pack is...
There's one scenario that will not benefit might, but I think being defense 8 and being able to shield will save you from, like, if Dwalin loses a fight, he has to spend the might to win it.
Yeah.
Otherwise he probably dies.
Yeah.
Against most things. Whereas Thorin can definitely take a few hits.
Yeah.
If he loses a fight, so you don't need to spend it to win it, so you don't concede VPs.
Thorin's very good. Very good for his points as well.
If you just start shielding, what a turn.
He shield kind of with the overshield and do his little poke.
Yeah.
Take one at a time.
Yeah.
And that seems to fit with the rules pack.
Yeah.
So next up.
It's one good riddance. He says, "Hello James, I hope you're well. I haven't been in touch with the channel for some months now due to numerous obligations. Anyway, my question is, how different will the newest iterations, not the reprint, of the source books be from their current versions? Can someone provide me with a link to where I can purchase Arnicon tickets, which you have done already? Lovely background, James." So we have no idea what the rulebooks are going to look like or be.
Well, let's just rewind a second. First of all, you've not explained yourself by saying numerous obligations.
What if you can't say?
Oh. Sorry. Don't come and find me. I try and act all big and hard, but not really. Here we go. So the newest iterations, not the reprints, because we know that the reprints are going to be the same as, because otherwise it would just take too long to get them out. So that's almost like a gift from Games Workshop to the community saying, okay, this is how you play the game, go play the game. New iterations, got no idea.
We have literally no idea. This was just talked about, it wasn't shown or anything, so I can't help you here, sorry.
What is the dream, Mr. Giblin?
Well, I just like some of the journey books with tons of new scenarios, because new scenarios make for good watching.
Yeah, new scenarios, the Desolation of Smaugons weren't fantastic. They weren't really particularly fantastic, but yeah, new scenarios would be really cool. I do like the idea of like a big sort of one rule book to it's got sort of
all the
everything in
all
it.
the profiles in it.
Everything, that would be amazing.
I guess that thing is
I would spend, if it was that leather bound gorgeous gilt thing, I'd spend loads of money on that. I would not care. That'd go on there in the mines. So yeah, that's what I would like. You?
I said.
Oh, cool. Next up is Callum Dees. But thanks, James. Completely agree that you keep things quiet. It's enough to know the hobby is being supported for longer. I'm sure it won't be long until we see more. I won't ask about any of the new info because it's nice to be surprised. Well, I hope you were when you received the video from myself and also from the Palantir team regarding what we know, as it were. This week I want to talk about Bard. As a character, I think he's extremely underrated. What are your thoughts about Bard as a character? I mean, he's got two profiles, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah. So we've got the Saviour of Lake Town and just Bard the Bowman.
Yep.
I think he's decent in both his profiles. Like, he's 3 attacks in each one.
Yep.
He's 3 might.
He's right. I think the argument always been is that he's slightly on the expensive side. He's quite low defence. He's fight 5. So I think that's usually where the arguments against him come in. But I mean, especially the new version, he's a fantastic buff to a Lake Town army. I mean, was it 12-inch banner or something?
12-inch banner, and they all get
+1 fight.
+1 fights. I think from
That's
fight
huge.
2 to fight 3.
That's huge. And how do you quantify that in terms of points? That's the thing. So,
is it a 5-point special rule, or is it a 10-point special rule, or is it an 8-point special rule? You just can't work out.
You certainly can't. So he is good in that army, but maybe people look and go, he's a bit expensive.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that.
Next up, we've got James McLennan. He says, the biggest question I want is what the price will be. Because I, for one, am not prepared to pay £5 for a grunt and upwards of £12 for a character figure. I see lots of proxying on the horizon. Also, the 3 hunters took 4 days to cover the distance between, Rauros and Fangorn, which, according to all the sources I have checked, is 150 miles. Just 40 miles a day.
He asked, would we have been able to keep up with the 3 hunters? And I said, well, you know,
I couldn't.
Back when I was in the military, I kind of guessed that I would probably be able to, even sort of before the last couple of years, because my training's very different now. That's what we're going for now. But if it's 40 miles a day, then actually, yeah, I could do that. I could do 40 miles a day. No problem at all. You know, in the military, you're looking at you've got to try and cover somewhere between 30 and 50 miles a day. and they don't have tons of gear. Really.
I don't know. Gimli's running in full armour.
Yeah, Gimli's a dwarf though. Gimli's a dwarf. He's low to the ground. He'd be fine. Sturdy.
Full armour. Full two-handed battle axe.
If I was Aragorn, his sword will be heavy. And some of his bits and pieces will be heavy-ish, but it's not the same as.
The thing is that their swords and things don't seem well bound to them, so you slap it on your back all the way.
I'd probably have to run with it in its scabbard like a rifle, like I had to when I was scouting it.
Then tip it falls out. Oh god, the swords come out again.
I'd just be there. I'd put the bit there, the hilt, just into the crux of my shoulder, and then Uruk-hai comes out and it's like contact left. You know what I mean? Double tap to the face
with a sword. Stab.
Yeah. And then I realised, hang on a minute, this isn't an SA-80A2 rifle, this isn't a mini-me light machine gun, it's a sword. So yeah, I think I would be able to do that. Okay, so in terms of price, well, when it comes to price discussions, I'm saying this isn't being antagonistic in any kind of way, as with any product or any service in the world, if you don't want to pay for something, you don't
pay for it. Yeah,
you don't pay for it. So something's only worth as much as you're willing to pay. Being said, companies do have to think somewhere in between. Right? Okay, would you want to go for something which is lower price and have access to a greater number of people, or do you want to have something which is slightly higher price and then you make more money from a smaller group of people?
Yeah.
And I think it's been pretty obvious that as a SBG community, it's relatively small. Mm-hmm. So really you have to kind of go for that second model. It's almost kind of what I've had to do with Biotic Fit a little bit, as the outdoor fitness market kind of imploded a little bit because of voucher companies and stuff, devaluing the industry. I've had to look from a model of having sort of 300 plus people paying more, £24, and now having 150 people paying £48, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where you kind of go with that. So if you look at it and you think, well, it's not gonna, this is too much for me, then, it's a shame. Especially if you're looking to go to tournaments, because some tournaments won't be happy with proxies and stuff, especially official ones. In terms of price speculations going to Forge World Resin, what do we think?
I think, unfortunately for you, I think that's what the prices will be. They're similar to the Lake Town £5 per model, it's £1 a point, and Heroes I think it'll be actually upwards of £12 for a character figure. Forge World isn't cheap stuff. They don't do
good quality though.
They don't do mass production runs on the whole. Like they don't.
It's in the hundreds, isn't it? Not the thousands.
Yeah, they don't cast to order, but they don't know that they're going to sell out of stuff. So it's limited casts. So as we've seen with Smaug, they'll cast a few hundred. It sells out. It's off the market for a good few months. They cast it again. It sells out. It's off the market for a few months.
I think a really good, remember, none of this is known, by the way. Yeah. This is not known. This is not 100% factual or any kind of way. But if you go and look on the Forge World site, I think the Plantier team had it right. I had a little look before that as well. And they were looking at sort of Deathcore, Krieg, which are smaller-ish kind of models, and I think it worked out about £40 for a box of 10. Yeah. £4 a model is cheaper than what we've been getting in Little Fine Cast Blister, and I'd rather buy a box of 10 at 40 than buy 3 at 15. Yeah. I really would. Yeah. If you're listening. That's what I would prefer to do that, I'd like 4 warbands though, 12. Would be better. But anyway, we're not in control of that, so that's just pure speculation. But thank you very much for that, James McLennan. I hope you stay in the Hobbit hobby regardless.
Next up we've got Andreas, the Norwegian Viking again. You gonna take it?
I think that's the answer.
Next.
Okay, sadly the Balrog is not legal at Desolation Stockport since it's 4 model minimum. Someone said that the Balrog would be really good because it doesn't have any might.
Oh, yeah.
It would be, but you can't bring it.
Sorry.
But if I was to change the Balrog, I would change it to the rules it had in the first incarnation. Jamie Giblin, what are those?
No. That was a little bit before my time. I joined during the Two Towers.
I've heard some stuff. Didn't it have a big huge stand fast that all the goblins would benefit from and run away?
I don't know.
Something like that anyway.
I don't know what it did.
The Balrog is one of those that you look at and go, well, it's expensive for its points, so therefore you don't really see it unless people are bringing it for fun purposes. Yeah. So maybe that would be one of the things that would get changed. I think it'd be cool to have a new Balrog, wouldn't it?
The cool
Smaug size Balrog. £400 Balrog.
I think an update to his rules would be well deserved of the Balrog. Because at the moment it just doesn't do anything.
No, it doesn't cut it, does it? It doesn't cut it. So thank you very much for that, Andreas.
Next up, Buck Rogers says, sorry, but Legolas would mess the bat up.
No.
And he is correct.
No, it's not.
Nathan Van Til says, hey guys, love the content. Been into the hobby for only a year at this point,
Welcome.
so I'm still kind of green and eager to learn. Here's a question that I don't think I've heard asked. Since the Hobbit was introduced, we have seen a whole lot of the Lord of the Rings, Thranduil and Mirkwood Guard from the Free People source book showing up. Or have we seen?
Have we seen?
I imagine it's not utilised nearly as much, but since there are multiple versions with vastly different profiles, I was curious.
Well, you're a Mirkwood player, and even before the Mirkwood Rangers and the new Thranduil popped up, there were kind of two camps with Mirkwood Guard, wasn't there? There was kind of your camp, and then there was like Tom Harrison's camp.
Yeah.
He's a fan of them, isn't he?
He was, yes. So the argument that sort of it works out. The maths is pretty much the same, but you could take, let's say, I can't remember working out off the top of my head, but you could take, say, 10 bows with Thranduil and not have the Mirkwood upgrade, or you could take maybe 6 bows with Thranduil with the Mirkwood upgrade. I don't think it's that many. I think it's like 7 or 8, but
Yeah, it's 7 or 8.
the argument being that those 8 shots, or 7 shots, or 6 shots, whatever it is, are very likely to hit every turn. Or you have 10 shots where you're likely to hit with a third or 2/3 of them, but it's like there's a trade-off there of almost guaranteed hits every turn, or a few very good turns of shooting where your dice are hot, they all hit, sweet 10 have hit.
And that spills over into
damage.
breakpoints and stuff as well.
It does, yeah.
It spills over to breakpoints, and also that horrible moment as a Wood Elf player when the lines meet, where you're like, oh gosh, please win the fight. Please win the fight, or I'm going to die.
Well, that's the other side of it, is that obviously when the lines do meet, or you're holding objectives, you've got more bodies on objectives.
Yeah.
But arguably, because you're consistently putting out the same amount of damage, if you can keep those archers safe and just shooting into supports and whatnot, you can continually kill from range.
Now, do you think that since the new Thranduil and the new sort of like Mirkwood Rangers and stuff, do we see less of the old Thranduil and old
I think we
Mirkwood?
see less Wood Elves in general, to be honest. I don't think they're very popular anymore.
Well, we both kind of think we know why this is.
Yeah.
Of course, there are now monster rules, and those monster rules. There are a lot of monsters now and again. There's a lot of fell beasts around, so it means that a good hurl can decimate half a line of Wood Elves.
It's
Easy.
horrific. I was playing against I forgot his name. Sorry, but I was playing against someone down south, and I avoided the entire game. Shot off lots. My opponent was getting rather frustrated at me because I wasn't engaging. I was like, well, I can't. You've got Shelob there. You will hurl once, and my line will be decimated.
You'll break me.
I just can't. I'm really sorry, but I can't go near you while Shelob's a threat. It was like, oh, it's rubbish game. So
Well, they said that to you.
Yeah, rubbish game. So lines met eventually because it was a game. I can't run away. I can't literally run away forever. Lines met. Shelob got on one guy, won the fight, hurled him, killed half the guys. I was like, you see why I couldn't? And he was like, oh, fair enough. I didn't realise it was actually going to be so powerful. I was like, this is the game that I have to play if I want to be competitive with the Wood Elves against monsters, because I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Oh, rant over.
Yeah, but that's the same, because you do hear people get, think about people getting at me with the Rohan. They weren't really good enough to do the skirmishy thing for too long anyway. It was more kind of just doing it so that the enemy would make a mistake so you could jump on a bit.
Yeah.
But you have to play in a way which suits your kind of army. So do we see less Wood Elves? Yes, we do see less Wood Elves. We don't really see many of the Mirkwood Garden stuff as much anymore, but it's not necessarily just because of the new Hobbit stuff, it's more because of Hurl since the Hobbit rules.
Hurls and the tendency to now have blue on blue engagements.
Yeah.
Like, Wood Elves do very well against evil armies in general, but when you're up against, Defence 6, Defence 7...
Rivendell Knights
do the job better. High Elves are a pain to take down because they shoot as well as you do, they hurt you easier, and you wound them on 6s. So that the meta shift really knocked the Wood Elves out of the park a little bit, which is why I've not really taken them to many events.
No, certainly haven't. So there we go.
Risk.
Very interesting question. So next up, that brings us to James Wilson. He put that beard and complexion makes you look like a possessed Theoden. I presume you're talking about me.
Yes.
And as I commented here, as a man of Rohan, I'm taking that as a compliment. I'll do the next one as well then. So we've got Wasadi 1969. He put pant-wettingly exciting news about SBG. Or should I say, Middle-earth strategy battle game. There we go. I'm really hoping for goats. Red mohawks and crazy looking war machines in my future. Will I be disappointed or excited? Excited.
I think you'll be excited. Don't know anything, but I think we'll be excited regardless of what comes out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Great show as always, James. Big thank you to yourself, Jamie, Damien and Tom for all your hard work in pulling this community together. Not to mention all the unsung heroes in the GBHL. Yeah. So, for example, the tournament organisers, people posting on Facebook all the time and running the Facebook page.
Yeah. The guys who go to tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. You guys who turn up, guys buying that stuff, the guys putting pictures up of their painting, and just all those kind of things help massively. I doubt GW would be giving the game a fresh lease of life without all your hard work, Wes, and that's pretty much been confirmed to us.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So GW have seemingly listened, so it's time for us to be stronger than ever.
Next up we got Larry Joe NL. He says, "Hey guys, I accidentally picked up a second mummock from eBay. Whoops."
Larry Joe or Dan Entwistle? Oh, it's Larry Joe.
Larry Joe, yeah.
Would that be the second 100th?
Second 100th, yeah.
For Entwistle.
My questions are, at what points level does a team of 2 mummokills stop being rubbish, or is it never a good idea? Also, is the upgrade to Warriors Arcana worth it for archers in the Howdah? I'd say yes for the Warriors Arcana in the Howdah, because hitting on 3s are so much more reliable than hitting on 4s.
Yeah, and then wasn't it like an old thing that you see quite a lot where they would do the upgrade and do the throw stones?
Yeah, so you're hitting on 3s.
Hitting on 3s.
Strength 6 or strength 8 or something rocks.
It's crazy.
And at what points level does a team of 2 mummokills stop being rubbish, or is it never a good idea? How many did Dan take out of 1,000? Was it 3 mummocks out of 1,000 and he nearly won the event?
He did alright, didn't he? Come second?
Second, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't happen often. We just like to point out.
No, but Dan is an experienced mummokill player and knows what he's doing with them.
He is what they call the
Beastmaster.
He's like a beastmaster. He is actually up there. We should shave his head and get him covered in tattoos next time we go out.
Oh, he's been out in Africa for a while.
He certainly has.
See when he comes back.
Comes back with a cracking tan. You know, he'll have what do you call it, like all the scarring tattoo things and everything, and he'll have like big discs in his ears. Lip. Wonderful.
Let's stop the stereotype.
So next up we've got Nailsy Cody.
Yep.
Great session, James. You been training with me? I have to say that the bit of negativity that you received is exactly why Games Workshop withdrew from involvement with the community. This is great news. From being cancelled last year to be fully supported, brilliant. Thanks for the bit of info you could give us. So yeah, he's referring to some of the impatience.
The Facebook,
Yeah, of which, you know, we're not seeing as much of now. But let's face it, if we want Games Workshop to engage in this, you know, and we want to engage with them as well, then it's got to be a positive journey together. This is a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. And next up is Lucas Whitcroft White.
Ooh, hello.
He says, "Hi guys, isn't it a great time to be alive?
It's always a great time to be alive in my theory.
Source books are being reprinted, new models are on the way, support from Games Workshop, rapidly growing amounts of players, excellent YouTube channels, even magazines. The Lord of the Rings and Hobbit SBG has never been in a better way. Now to my question, at Ardacon, will there be stalls providing goods for SBG? Like SBG Magazine has a stall, or Shadow and Flame? That would be awesome to see. Keep up the GR8 work."
It's a great time to be involved in the hobby, and it's also Ardacon is going to be a great way of celebrating all of that. So yes, it's not. Ardacon is definitely not just about the 3 tournaments you can play over the course of that 3 days. It is as much about all of the hobby side of things as well. There will be lots of stores, products, there'll be cool things there that you guys can do and get involved in. There's things that I'm organising on a daily basis so that you're hopefully not completely let down. And it's lots of hard work, but I'm sure it'll be worth it. And I really want it to be a celebration of the positivity wagon going forward. So everybody turns up with a big grin on their face and embraces it, and yeah, celebrates where we are. So will there be stalls? Yes.
Cool. I'll rush through the next one. Star Fox, my favourite question was asked by James Brown at the end, but what was your favourite question asked at Throne of Skulls?
What did he ask?
He asked Legolas or Gimli.
Well, Legolas or Gimli. Well, I can finally settle that debate, because that was the whole point of my tournament. Throne of Skulls. At the start of every game I said, right, I've got Legolas and Gimli and the 3 hunters, they're having a competition, who's going to kill the most? They got to bet on it. a bit of illegal gambling there, and you got to win the dice and tape measure if you got it right. And Legolas took it 4-3.
That it?
It was 4-3, yeah.
Oh, 4-3 games, right.
That's
I thought you meant kills. I was like, what were you doing?
No. Yeah, that was terrible. No, Legolas took it 4-3.
Yeah, well, to be expected.
Yeah. I love Gimli. I love the profile of Gimli. It's very cool. What was your favourite question?
Well, to be honest, I was at the back of the hall and the audio was not fantastic, reverberating all the way to the back. So the first sort of half of it, I was just enjoying the pictures on the screens, to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't really hear that much, but I also can't remember.
I didn't hear the question. I didn't hear the questions as well. I only really heard the answers.
A lot of people next time, if there's ever anything like that, you need to ask short questions.
Yeah.
Because there were quite a few of us, obviously just passionate, excited, but the questions would be, oh, by the way, Adam Troga, hey, what do you think about this? You're like, sorry, you've been talking for 2 minutes. I think I got the gist of your question, but
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I've got. See you later, Jane.
Oh,
It's alright, you can come in. Have a good day. I can't remember what my favourite question was, to be perfectly honest. Come up, mate. Hup. But yeah, there were lots of good ones.
My God, there's a dog in Moria.
How did you survive? Oh, he is muddy. Never mind. Right, this is all going in the wash. There you go, matey. Just lie down. Good stuff. No, not on the table. Get down. So the next question is Ryan Ratchford, Accolon 39. He's put, I know you'll probably get a ton of questions about Throne of Skulls, but it's a big topic. However, I'll ask something that's a little bit different. How did you both of you find your actual games? How's the tournament itself and rules pack play out in your opinion? Very excited for Desolation of Stockport. We'll be taking 40 goblins with chance of some serious scribing.
I've actually done a review of Throne of Skulls for me.
Good.
So I won't say anything now because it'll spoil that video. So how did you find your games?
Great fun. The rules pack lent itself to people going there and just taking things that, if they were being competitive, that they might probably not take. Well, having said that, they did really well. They won 5 out of 7.
Yeah, I did 4.5 in mine.
Crazy stuff. To be fair, some of my opponents chose to lose for the sake of coolness.
Oh, fair enough.
Dan Huck, bless you, Bilbo. Like Dan Huckvale, for example, chose not to run his 15-inch moving drummer Marauder Scouts off the table and just come and fight me.
Yeah.
He moved to the edge, proved that he won the game, and came and had a fight. What a legend. So the fact that it lent itself to really cool armies, it was nice looking around.
The fact that your wins made absolutely no difference. I was talking about this with some of the guys, and if I'd won the event, which I obviously didn't, if I'd won the event based off most sporting votes, I think I'd be more proud of that than winning a competitive tournament.
Couldn't have gone to a nicer chap either.
No.
If you play against Tom Pickard, and someone said it perfectly either on YouTube or on Facebook, but I played him at the league final. He's a genuinely lovely guy, or at least if he's not, then he's a good actor because he's lovely. He brings this little dwarf army, and he brought exactly the same to Throne of Skulls, and he didn't bring anything different. So like we brought stuff that we might not normally take for being competitive, but he brings that anyway, and he is just an absolute delight.
I think that was Billy on the Facebook page.
Was it Billy? Yeah. I mean, it was a fabulous quote, and it sums it up completely right. He's so much fun. He's lovely. He's a lovely guy. So congratulations, and you couldn't go to a nicer person. Sorry, everybody else. I think we were all in agreement that we really liked that as a format, especially for Throne of Skulls when you are going to get like lots of people you might not normally come across. So that was cool.
Mm-hmm. And next up is King Bonsai. We've got 2 questions. He says, I have 3 warbands of Gundabad Orcs with their captains, and I'm wondering, besides the addition of a Shaman and Nazgul, what should I add next?
So Gundabad Orcs.
Azog Bolg?
Yeah, they're cool heroes.
Yeah.
They're cool heroes.
And the second part is the Dweller question was because I do not own the Moria and Angmar source book, but with the re-release, I can't wait to buy one during Sun.
Yeah, that's what you got to look forward to. So anybody who's missing the source books now, you'll be able to get them, and they're likely to be around some kind of maybe £17 or £20 something.
Yeah, I reckon about 20. If it's a limited run, the price will go up.
Yeah,
I would assume.
You'd assume, but who knows? That's not set in stone. Next up, we have Bradley Cobden. He's put, what model would you most like to be released/re-released? We start with released first, so maybe stuff that we've not seen.
The Twirly Whirlies.
These are in the extended
edition. Yeah.
Things like chop up arrows.
We were thinking like, how would you make a rule to because in the film they just get rid of arrows, but you can't do that because then you just ruin someone's game.
But what you could do is like on the roll of a 5+ or something like that. So it's effectively like a fury save that covers a 6-inch bubble around.
Yeah. So what I thought was that your shoot value is increased by 1 or decreased by 1, however you want to word it. So that within 6 inches, if you want to shoot these guys, you need to roll. If you're a 4+, you need a 5+. If you're a 5+, you need a 6+. If you're a 3+, you need a 4+.
You need to toilet.
Okay.
The toilet, he's going to go. What are you doing? Oh, it's because the door's closed. And there you go. You don't need the toilet, do you? You're just looking for your mummy. Is that still recording?
Yeah.
See, I think something like you shoot to hit or whatever, and then what you do is, I don't know, you roll any of the hits. You roll a certain number of dice, and any 6s that you roll, any 6s you roll cancel out the number of hits or something like that, or any 5.
That'd be cool.
That could be. It's a different mechanic, isn't it? Something different. This is why you should employ me. That's all you get, though. That's the best I've got.
And yourself for release?
I really like the idea of like some hulking kind of pale orc kind of things, like things that we've not seen.
The mini bulgs.
Mini bulgs, yeah, like just
big brute Gundabans.
Yeah, big brute kind of Gundabans that are kind of higher strength, lower defense, maybe a couple of attacks or something.
Yeah.
Not high fight though. I think that could be quite cool. As for being re-released, if you're looking back at some,
it's got to be Gandalf on horse for everybody who's not got one.
Like a new sculpt.
I'm not fussed. The old sculpt's beautiful as well. Hashtag stop the scalp.
I think Gandalf on horse is a good shout. You can't beat Gandalf. It's cool.
Yeah,
that's why there's so many of him. He is cool. He is the hero. So next up we've got Martin Smith.
He says, "Hey guys, after an exciting week of news and some great buzz around the game once again, it's truly a fantastic time to be a part of the community. This week's question is bound to be towards the Throne of Skulls news. Firstly, with some out-of-production models coming back, what models would you like to get that you missed out on before? Myself, I know I've missed a lot of models when I was out of the game and could probably spend a lot of money depending on what comes back." So we'll do that first.
Yep, so models that
we've missed out on.
That are out of production.
Come back.
I don't know how.
For me, it's most of the new Hobbit stuff that's gone out of production that I've missed a chance to buy.
Yeah.
Halbarad with his banner, but then if he comes back, then it sort of takes away the prestige of having it, and I don't use him, so.
Yeah, he's a nice model. Ooh, that's really, really tough because I try and think, and I've really kind of worked hard to try and get hold of models that I didn't own, and I've done quite well with that. So like I've got like the Rohan captain with the axe up that I really want. I've now got Defenders of Rohan Amo, which might have been my answer just even a couple of months ago. He's a lovely model to paint.
Let's just if that set came back.
Oh, that'd be cool. So yeah, let's say that set because it's some different sort of Fellowship and Rohan poses. That's cool.
Secondly, I mentioned a few weeks back about the old White Dwarf article about the Fiefdoms of Gondor from the news. From the news about the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit appendices as expansions. Surely this has to be an area that can be expanded into. Where or what are you hopeful for? Cheers, guys, and thanks for the work as always. So, what expansions into the Middle-earth world are we looking forward to?
Okay, well, let's have a little look at what the license covers. So, it's the main body of the text, movies, and then room to do some of their own creations that aren't brought from the appendices or any other literary works, such as insert here.
For me, I want to see the raids at Dol Guldur.
Yeah, that's cool.
Combat raids, purely combat raids. No spells. Maybe one spell.
Like, do you know what I think? Because Castellans of Dol Guldur kind of work quite well as replacements for them, so you could try and kind of make them a little bit like that, but slightly better in some way. That'd be quite cool.
If they just have synergy with a necromancer in some way.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Good shout, Jamie. Areas that they would expand into, so yeah, like a Dol Guldur supplement kind of thing could be quite cool. Where would I like to see them go? Jamie? If they, because he did talk about where we take our journeys. Because somebody asked a question about like, would we see like the Blue Wizards, for example, and he was very much along the lines of, well, if we decided to take our journey in a way which included those, you know, for a particular point. So hinting at kind of like journey books.
Yeah.
And they're like,
well, I guess it depends on what can you make a campaign out of. So you could do the Blue Wizards campaign, like what did they actually get up to, sort of thing, because there's nothing been written about that, so that gives you scope to make up adventures for them.
It'd be interesting to see, because it's hard.
Which areas do you go to that are going to capture your imagination the most? Because I don't know about you, but for me the East doesn't really entice me that much. But I know for a lot of players it does, very much so. And I think what would be quite cool is to see Erebor facing off against the East in the War of the Ring.
Yeah.
And like sort of the invasion of the Lonely Mountain.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. That would be quite cool. I look at, because I've always liked sort of things like the Gondorian Civil War and stuff like that, but it's knowing, are those things mentioned in the main body of the text enough to be able to do that? So things like, for example, the Arnor Civil War, so effectively having Arthur Dane, Cardolan and Rudour, I've been corrected, and doing those kind of things. You've got very different types of kind of mannish kingdoms.
Yeah.
So I do like that kind of thing. But yeah, it would be interesting to see whether those things are mentioned enough in the main body of the text. I'm reading it again at the moment for like the 15th millionth time. So
searching. That could be something they do.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start again. Yeah. I'm just coming towards the end of the Two Towers, so I'll have to start again. So again, good question. Next question.
I got Ben Clark.
Oh, Ben Clark. Hi guys, first time commenting on the channel. Well, Mr. Giblin, what does this gentleman have to do?
Oh, you are now in the loop. So we answer your question, you ask us a question next week.
Every single week, on and on and on and on until you die. Or are consumed and become a wraith. Pretty exciting news from Throne of Skulls. Great to hear that SBG will continue with Games Workshop support for the foreseeable future. Well, only if we support our Hobbit hobby guys, so let's get on it. My question is, what are you doing? I was a little bit worried that my dog was weeing on my leg then.
Was it just yourself?
Yeah, it's just me. I know, weeing with excitement. My question is, should there be any 4th Age profiles released? Who would you be the most excited to see? Personally, I'd love to see Prince Eldarion and the Daughters of King Alessar. Maybe some new Hobbit characters, Eleanor, Faramir, Goldilocks, etc. Great content, always inspiring. And Saruman the White adds, welcome to our little community, to Ben Clark, which is absolutely right. Welcome. 4th Age.
4th Age,
What's not in the appendix? Is that question?
Yeah, it's tough because the things that you want to see are probably the ones that you know about. So.
And it's at what point are at the end of Return of the King? Some things. No, but some things are. I'm sure that some things are mentioned. So it'd be going to the end of that. So when I finish reading it again, I'll let you know. But I'm sure that some things are mentioned, and the 4th Age technically starts when Alessa becomes king, doesn't it? So it's okay. So what could we see at that point? So yeah, I'd have to have a little look and do some research on it.
Yeah, maybe we might see a full scouring. Oh, they've had it. But we might see a better one.
Yeah, it's got all of the evil, like what's his name? Ted Sandyman. Is it Sandyman?
Yeah.
Is it Sandyman? He's one of them, isn't he? And some of the ruffian characters and Bree folk and stuff like that would be cool. Bree folk would be cool.
Yeah.
Bree folk would be cool. I like the idea of that. So thank you very much for that, Ben Clark. Next up we have Wah!
Wah says the loop is going strong. This week's questions: 1. What looked better, your beard or the new background? Both are fantastic. Wah's beard story is he started growing his beard a good 3 to 4 months before he got married. He started to take out most of his pics from the right side as the beard was still patchy on the left. What I'd give to grow a proper beard, he says. Cool.
What did you prefer, the beard or the background?
Background.
Yeah. I know what you mean about patches. I got this trimmed for the first time the other day, and it was quite interesting because they actually said, like, have you done anything to it yourself already? I was like, no, I've not clipped it or done anything at all. He's like, well, that's good because you know that it's never going to grow around this kind of point here. That's your line. And he said, but the thing is, you're not going to be able to have a beard that goes like that. You're going to have one that comes like this because you've got a patch here and it will never grow from that patch.
Right.
So you've got to kind of go like that. So you might see me with like a proper like King of Persia style, like out here, you know, Assyrian Empire kind of beard. If that makes sense to any of you guys out there into history.
Number 2 says, what plans, ideas the GBHL podcast or YouTube team have floating around in their collective minds on the back of such a monumental weekend of news and excitement? I'm sure that the news has all 4 of you fired up, and it must have given you a lease of life. At least be interested to see what your thoughts are. As always, cooking content and counting down to the days you guys can buy me a pint at Ordicon. Until you buy us pints at Ordicon, I think is the correct answer.
Fantastic. Well, I guess the Palantir team will have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Like quite a lot for the next bit. I don't think any of us are going to be scraping the barrel.
Unboxings. Just can't wait to get them back.
Yeah, because the thing with an unboxing is that you can do an unboxing credit and do lots of them in a day and still do them in credit and then be like good 10-20 minute videos. Yeah. If you try and do that with battle reports or campaigns, it can be a little bit tougher and can feel a little bit more rushed and all.
The editing as well, you notice it a lot.
Yes, of course you do. Oh, and I know where you were just licking. Yummy! Well, yeah, I don't think we weren't fired up before. Get off the table now. I don't think we weren't fired up before, but it's just the fact that, you know...
It's knowing that we've got something ahead to arrive is just... It means that we can take our brakes off a little bit on what we... So what do we need to do this week? Like, it means we've actually got something to talk about and a topic that the community are interested in rather than making our own. Yeah, exactly. I've got a few ideas. I'm sure Jamie's got a few ideas of things that we can do going forward. So whether we share them or not, well, you will just have to wait and see. Lots of other YouTube channels out there now.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, don't steal our ideas and catchphrases and the like. Next up, we've got the mighty son of Gloin. Hey guys, I hope you're well. How could you not? Hope you're well. How could you not be? Oh, how could you not be with the news from Throne Skulls? I do find it a little sad that you guys are having to explain yourselves about not releasing massive responses regarding the news. I feel that the GBHL hosts, as well as the people you get on the channel regularly, are huge pillars of the community and have kept the game alive. Anyway, my question for you this week is, do you think we might get things like plastic box sets of Foot Knights of Dol Amroth? I think anything that we get will be awesome, so I'm going to start saving now. Again, thanks for all your efforts. Much love.
Well, I don't think plastic's in the works at the moment.
Not new plastics.
Forge World.
It's possible.
Yeah. I think what again you'd be more likely to see is a Forge World set of resin Dol Amroth. Yeah. That can be done on multiple spins, just get them made up, and then the moulds there ready and they're out. And as a Fiefdoms fan,
I mean, Adam Troik is a huge Fiefdoms fan. I mean, one of the things that he said that he would really like to see going forward, and this doesn't mean it's going to happen, but he'd love a new sculpture of Imrahil. So maybe they decide to create a Fiefdom supplement and take the journey that way. It depends what they want to do, and if they do, I would expect to see new models, whether they're being plastic or not. At the moment, it doesn't look that way, but it's not out of the question, so worth thinking. And with regards to sort of explain ourselves, I think that people sort of maybe expected us to be straight away, and anybody in that room, and it's amazing that everybody in the room, it wasn't like it wasn't bound to see. Taking pictures was out of the question, and filming and dictaphoning, but it wasn't like we were told that you couldn't go and talk about it. I think it's just that everybody in that room recognised that it would be better presented in other ways. Yeah, I mean, we spoke to Troik after it, and the one question that you remember, he said, I really wish someone had asked me this question, but I've forgotten what I wanted someone to ask. Yeah. And it was that he wanted somebody to ask, will you announce more at Warhammer Fest? And which answer is yes, there will be. So get tickets for Warhammer Fest. Yep, and other places. Yeah. Would be good. So yeah, you've got lots to look forward to, Middle-earth strategy battle gamers. Next up is Brad Thy Hipster. He says, hello once again, thanks for the feedback on my last post about the big Gundabad list. Just need to paint them up now. Likewise, with the news about Middle-earth SBG from the GBHL team, my imagination has gone wild with excitement, and I cannot wait for the new releases. May they be miniatures or books. Now to my question for this week. He says, do you know if Games Workshop's license extends to the independent games, such as Lord of the Rings War in the North, in terms of can they use content or make models from it, as I feel it would be an interesting scope to delve into. Thanks a lot guys, #support your Hobbit hobby.
I don't think it will do.
No. What was mentioned, it was very interesting. I found all of that really interesting because, of course, on the internet over the last couple of years, you get all kinds of speculation about what the licenses have and when they're up to, and there's all kinds of rumours, and it's hilarious because
no one knows anything, but everybody knows everything.
So it's very nice when you get the person who does know telling you exactly what's going on, which was that the licence was due to expire at the end of 2016, which is coming up, and that's why the conversation, I mean, it looked like it was going to be run down, but the conversation's been had, and they're kind of like, actually, we can probably still roll with this, there's a great community behind it. But we also heard what the licence entails, which is, again, the main body of the text, the movies, with some room to create their own things that are feasible. Now, I would suggest that those computer games have their own licenses on top of that,
most definitely,
for their own creations, and I'm guessing that GW won't buy an IP for that. If they're going to do anything even similar, what they would probably do is create their own stuff that kind of follow those kind of journeys, rather than buying into another IP on top of another IP. So I think no.
Well, it's Shadow of Mordor or War in the North, miniatures and profiles.
Right, so in the meantime, get converting and make your own if you like those themes.
Homebrews.
Woohoo. Next up we've got Matt Patterson. He's put, "Hi guys, I have some unrelated SBG questions for you. One, do you play Saga?"
Yes, well, have the models and the rules and the dice. Have you played Joyce yet? No.
Kind of.
Still chainmailed?
Yes. It won't take long.
He's been saying this for 2 years.
I have. This is absolutely true. I'm so sorry. We have every intention of doing this. Do you watch Vikings?
Yes.
Thanks to Jamie, yes.
Up to date.
I'm not. Where are we up to now?
Season 4 now.
Oh, what? I don't think I watched season 3. I think I watched season 1
Get on
and
it.
2. Yeah, get on it. 3. Have you seen the Viking TV characters made into Saga 28mm models?
Yes, I have. HVM Workshop. I haven't posted them out. As very cool images. There's also, I've noticed, and I'm really tempted to do it from Scale 75. Have Ragnar the Viking and Ragnar Lothbrok. They've got a very large bust of his head, and then they've got a 34. Is that a range? 35mm model of him as well.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. Could be fun to paint.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting painting in big miniature.
Yeah.
I got a bit more confidence now to paint some of the Guild Ball stuff.
I really enjoy painting Guild Ball stuff. I actually enjoy painting at bigger scale. It doesn't feel as needleworky.
No, it goes back the other way, doesn't it? So you think when you're there, you're painting Lord of the Rings miniatures, like, well, I can't imagine having to paint anything bigger and having to get the detail on, but it actually
it makes it a little bit easier because you sound like squeaking.
Squeak, squeak.
Yeah, you don't need to get into the very fine detail bits. A detail brush will do, and then you can, with the skills you've learned from Lord of the Rings, you can make it a little bit nicer. Yeah,
I think with tiny little miniatures, sometimes it's about suggestion rather than literal.
Like eyes,
and suggestion
eyes
is tougher.
You can, like, eyes in a helmet, you just don't bother with them. You can just wash it, and you know that the eyes are behind the helmet. Whereas in the Guild Ball universe, no one actually wears a helmet, but you can do eye slits. Stoker does, yeah.
I had to do that right then. I was like, there must be one.
There's also Fangtooth with his hockey mask.
Yeah, that's true.
Tenderising with the hockey mask. And,
great game. If you don't play it, get on it. It's awesome. Keep Jamie in a job. If you Google search it, you won't be disappointed. Ragnar looks great. Thanks as always. Yeah, I think I've seen pictures floating around. So next up we got Luca Lefebvre, I think.
Yeah.
And shoot.
Hey, loving all the news from Throne of Skulls. Recently reignited my love of this game and dusted off the models, so I'm really glad to hear that it was right, as the support is coming from Games Workshop too. Sort of an unrelated question to any Throne of Skulls news, but was just wondering how you guys would go about fluffing in Treebeard Ents to a list. Would you love to play with him? Would love to play with him, but just can't seem to write him into a list without seeming too cheesy. Don't have enough Ents for a full force of them, unfortunately, so I've got him with some elves at the moment. Have you guys seen people play them around, making them feel a bit more thematic? Thanks a bunch. Treebeard and Ents are one of those ones that don't really fit into an army.
No.
In my opinion, I guess no.
No, he's not cheesy. I guess it gets cheesy when you bring like maybe Bombadil with him.
Yes. And Bombadil and Goldberry and Treebeard are 400 points. Godolphin.
You can't be broken and you're not going to kill a leader.
Yeah. Well, you can kill a leader, you should do it in one turn.
Yeah.
Because it recovers 2 wounds, 2 might, 2 will, 2 fate every turn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
I won that game though.
Yeah, I mean, from an objective point of view, it might struggle in certain games. I mean, if you're going to have Treebeard,
I just don't think Treebeard doesn't care about other people. I guess the only thing you could really have is Treebeard and Radagast. Or Treebeard and Saruman the White, technically, because Saruman walked among them. And
I've seen people do Treebeard with Wozes, but that's mainly because of Wanderers in the Wild, but they're in different parts of the world.
Different parts of the world and would never really meet. I guess the people theme it up, fluff it up by saying that the Wozes revere this tree god. And he's like their walking totem pole.
Yeah.
I guess really what you need to do is you need to abstract Treebeard into something else.
Yeah. Kind of.
Like,
I'm trying to think of sort of plausible armies that he's going to be around. And you could maybe say that, like, when the orcs all run from Helm's Deep into Fangorn.
Treebeard and Rohan could do, and you say he's not actually Treebeard, he's a, I can't pronounce it, Huon.
Yeah, he could do something like that. But yeah, he's quite hard to list into to write into an army, as it were. So you tend to see him more in kind of, if he is to drop in into more all-hero-y kind of stuff, really, to be honest. But thank you very much for that. So next up we have Honor Sifsibasi. You got his name right, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Hi James, not much of a question, but I had to get this out. It surprises me that many people were IDD, do you know what I mean?
I'm not sure.
Were mad, frustrated with the fact that you guys kept the info for a separate video. It's completely understandable and a smart thing to do. No point in writing a 200-page essay on Facebook when the majority of your fans follow you via YouTube. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people are getting more and more addicted to instant gratification. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And you have my understanding and best wishes to keep up the great work. Much love from Belgium. What a lovely, positive comment there. I really appreciate that. It was a bit crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Even from some people I didn't expect.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't our job to report on these things. This is our hobby. We're like you. You know, we just happen to have a camera in front of us, which you guys can do as well, which loads of people have been doing, which is brilliant. You know, let's talk a little bit about the sort of the time frame as well of things happening. You know, that we were all eating.
Yeah.
So we literally just finished the tournament. Everyone goes into Bugman's to get a drink, order their food, because the food was not going to be on sale, not that long after.
Yeah.
During us all eating, the seminar goes on, and we're asked not to dictaphone to film or anything like that, which is absolutely fine. Don't take pictures. People are asking questions. You're eating your food, but you're eating it probably a little bit slow. By the time that had finished, we were into the quiz.
The quiz then started. That's another sort of 2 hours time, or hour and a half time of, you know, interaction with the people around you. You're at an event, you speak to them, you're drinking.
And let's face it, during that time, you know, I think I put a post up, then Tom Harrison put one up just slightly later as well, basically giving a huge hint. You know, I put hashtag MESBG, but basically just saying, look, we've got loads to look forward to, and just kind of summing it up that way, that don't worry, it's not going to be anything bad, it's going to be good stuff. And then Tom kind of subbed it up with his kind of post as well. But yeah, there was a little bit of negativity, and we don't want that. We want positivity, because this is an exciting time to be involved in this hobby. So let's all press forward.
Right. So next up we got Dave Egan. That's me, isn't it? This isn't SBG or Middle Earth related, but does Jamie still watch The Walking Dead? And if so, has he seen the season 6 finale? No, I've not actually seen much of season 6, to be honest. Walking Dead's one that I just catch up on when I run out of TV shows to watch.
Judging by Facebook reaction, you've got a lot to be disappointed about.
Yeah, I know.
I don't watch it, but I saw a bunch of people kicking off going, you know, WTF, exclamation mark, never watching Walking Dead again. It was kind of the whole sort of Jon Snow.
I'm guessing someone important's died, but, you know, deal with it. Who do you think took the bat? So it's going to be like a murder mystery for season 7, obviously. I'll add a Middle Earth question related, if I can remember to. Here's what he'd make the Balrog if it were up to Dave Egan. 400 points, move 8, fight 12. So I guess
rescaling fight value.
Yeah. With 2+ shoot value, strength 9, defense 10, 4 attacks, 10 wounds, courage 7, 3 might, 6 will, no fate. Special rules: terror, ancient evil, resistance to magic, flaming whip, Durin's bane. When making strikes against dwarves in combat, the Balrog must reroll 1s. This foe is beyond any of you. The Balrog cannot be trapped. our Balrog of Morgoth. The Balrog can spend a 3 point of will each turn. In addition, each wound inflicted by the Balrog in combat counts as 2 wounds suffered, doubling after fate rolls. Magic spells, Transfix on a 4+, Compel on a 5+, and Sap Will on a 5+. Yeah, this is pretty good.
Seems pretty good. It'd be interesting if they did do one, so which way they go. Will they keep him at 400 points and go up that way, or would you bring that to Dragon? If you bring the points down, just make a couple of little tweaks, it might
a few of my points and you'd be alright.
Yeah, because what's a Dragon? 250?
250 base.
250 base.
50 point per upgrade, can take 2 upgrades.
So if you make him more like sort of 275, 300 and just be a little bit better, then I reckon you see him a bit more.
I think move 8 as well, that would really make him better.
Well, that was something Adam Troke came over to one of my games while I was playing, and obviously he's sort of testing the water, and he's going to be getting pestered, don't all start messaging him on Facebook. Tagging him in.
He said he's having a competition with some of the guys at work about how many friend requests he's getting at the moment.
He ended up being like this mad Facebook Twitter celebrity, that's going to be happening with Jay as well, I suppose. But he did come over, and I think he mentioned the Balrog kind of thing, like, there is no Balrog around here, so it's things like that he'd look at. And I think someone said, just give him flying. He was like, well, if you can point me to the point where he flies, then I'll
give it to him.
Give that. And I think I said, to be fair, I think just those big things like Treebeard and Balrogs that have got big long limbs and can take big strides, even if they were 8 inches, it would just make a slight difference. And
it means they can catch people.
Yeah, you're not going to get people just running.
6 inches away, 6 inches forward.
Which is a big problem for them, really. So I think making stuff like that 8-inch movement isn't a terrible idea, actually. Thanks very much for that, Dave Egan. What do you think of his thing? It was alright, wasn't it? Next up, we've got Bryce Campbell. Hello, James. Thanks for supporting me. I'm not going to be able to get to England for a while. My pacemaker is having some problems. I'm sorry to hear that.
No.
So until I get that fixed, I'm stuck at home. Don't overexert yourself. I hope it gets fixed. So my question for this week is, when battling my wife, she complains... Oh, I thought like an argument.
Well, maybe this is.
Oh yeah, but she complains I cheat because of my Minas Tirith archers being 8 strong and her 2 Mordor archers. I need to know, is 8 too many in my 2 warbands of Minas Tirith with 4 shields, 4 spears and shields and 4 bow, totaling of 8 in each group? Let me know so I can tell her no, thanks.
She probably means you're cheating not because of the bow limit, because that is legitimate bow limit, but because she's got 2, you've got 8, and you can shoot her out. You can outshoot her.
Maybe swap it around a couple of times. Say, okay, you play with this, and I'll play with this, and just mix it around.
Yeah.
Probably not even worth having the 2 Mordor archers.
2 more shields.
Couple more shields in there.
Or drop them, give all the spearmen shields, so it's 6s to wound rather than 5s on the spearmen.
If you're not cheating, it's just they're different profiles, aren't they? Yeah. But swap it around from time to time. Don't always play the same armies. That's a good way to go. Next up, we've got King Bonsai.
King Bonsai says to change the Balrog, I would give him 3 might and a 12-inch stand fast. 12-inch stand fast, a 3 point of will per turn, spells to cast, and the ability to use a dragon's fireball as well as 8 inches movement. That'd be fun. And then the answer is
suggestions.
Yeah. Well, I think dragon's fireball is a bit too powerful.
Yeah.
A 3 point of will per turn.
Yeah.
The answer is Narsil. Sorry, not in its second form. Was originally forged in Nogrond, the Dwarf Kingdom in the Blue Mountains. This week is Who Betrayed Gondolin.
You cheat. You said, where was Anduril forged, not where was Narsil forged, and I said, well, since you said Anduril and not Narsil, you cheated me. I'm not playing your quiz anymore, King Bonsai. Do one.
Next up is Walkman RP.
We genuinely aren't playing your quiz. You just changed the terms of the questions partway through. So Wildman RP said, my question, moved from the other video because I'm a dunce. What are your top 3 models you'd like to see re-released? Mine are Gildor Inglorian, full range of Dunlendings, and that's cool, and an updated Gilgalad included mounted. Also, I just bought my Nova tickets.
Oh, good man.
And I'll probably bring in Moria Goblins. Right now, I've only got a horde of Moria Goblins, some trolls and a bunch of wargs. Other than a drum, what could I add to the army to spice it up to make it more effective? So let's start off. What are your top 3 models you'd like to see re-released? We've always said Gandalf the Grey mounted.
Gandalf, Dunlendings, the 2-handed axes and bows would be cool if they came back. And I'm not really sure on the last one, to be honest. Re-released.
So re-releasing the miniature.
Come back. You answer some. Let me have a think.
I agree.
I knew it. I've been strung out. They're good decisions, Jamie. I agree with that.
It's like the rules questions. The rules questions come up, I read them, I look at you, you answer, and I'm like, I agree. This has worked. This has worked for a couple of years.
I genuinely don't know off the top of my head which three. If I had to pick 3 miniatures, which ones I'd want back. Gandalf the Grey, definitely, so we'll have access to it. I think the Shade will come back because it is being scalped, but I don't really want to see more of it in the game. To be honest.
Forlong maybe. See him. Beragond.
Yes, Forlong would be cool to have back.
Forlong, Beragond would be cool.
I think it was mentioned earlier. The Knights of Dalenroth on foot.
Yes, that'd be a good idea.
That'd be a cool one to have back.
And that's one that people really struggle with as well.
Yeah.
You know,
because like my Knight's a bit dismounted.
Halbrad. Oh, I've got one.
Go on.
The Grey Company miniatures that are really rare.
Oh yes, yeah.
They're cool with the spears. I've got some of them. $1 million right now. Probably not for long. Oh wow, look who it is.
It's Kronikan. He says hello.
Yes, he was our Swedish friend.
Oh yes. I'm terrible putting things together. You're here for that reason.
Nothing else.
Hello James and Jamie, great show as usual. Love the background and it gets me in the speak friend and question mood. My question this week is a scenario one. The Great British Hobbit League has created the Scout scenario, yourself did this. Looks really good. I'm now keen to include the scenario in my next tournament. What if one of the armies is on an all hero list? How do you nominate scouts from the army? Is it written that no heroes can be nominated as scouts? What will I do? Please help. Best regards, Mikhail.
Yeah, I mean that's what the scenario is for. It's to try and sort of balance out the whole reconnoiter issue in a way. So you can nominate troops, infantry troops to be. Well, you can do cavalry as well, I believe.
Yes, you can do. Yeah. Can't do anything with fly.
Can't do anything with fly. Any multi-wound model, any hero.
Yeah.
None of those kind of things can be scouts. And if you only got 3 warriors in your whole entire army, then you could put 3 scouts, but then you can't have another 2 scouts. If you're an all-hero army, then effectively your job becomes to go and kill those scouts and then try and break the opponent, I believe. So it's to try and sort of balance that out, and that's what you kind of see in I don't think of scenarios on their own necessarily. I think it's a good way to look at it when you look at a tournament. Think of them in sequence with what other scenarios that you've got there. So you look at that and you go, right, okay, well actually, it gives the all-hero force a little bit more of a chance, like let's say it's a 3 model all-hero force, a little bit more of a chance against 50 million goblins than in Reconnoiter.
Yeah.
At the same time, they've still got a job to do, you know what I mean? So yeah, you can't have hero scouts. You have to play a different kind of game. Well, send me an email, hotgatesgaming@gmail.com, send me an email and I'll email over the scenario for you.
Cool. Next up.
It's Chris Murphy. He must have asked this today.
Yeah, 1 hour ago.
Nice, good work.
We're getting the questions in, obviously.
Yeah. Literally just now. Like, wow, that was
that was about 2 hours ago.
Well, it might be even more.
But I said 5.
Chris Murphy, but thank you for all the nice comments about our tournament. Well, why wouldn't we? Sterling is
amazing.
great. We love Sterling. We like Sterling, don't we? You always go up and have a bit of an explore and have a good time, make a holiday of it.
Make a holiday of it, yeah.
Try and get yourselves up to Common Ground Games when that is in November.
Yes.
It's November. Good stuff. My question is, are Reavers still considered filth if taken in a pure Corsair force?
Depends on the number. If you've gone pure Corsairs with Corsair Reavers on the front and Corsairs with Spear at the back, then yes, that's filth.
I think if you've got, I think that whole thing of when you talk about, well, if it's more than a third or whatever, then maybe. But I think with Corsairs, when people refer to Corsairs being filth, it's when you spam and you have a whole army of them as point 1. Point 2, if you've made the modification so they've got an axe they can piercing strike, so sort of negate their weaknesses, really. And point 3 is if you combine that with something that is outside of the list to be good, which you wouldn't be doing here, which is putting a shade in or a Shadow Lord or something like that. So I think those are the 3 rules. But Corsair's being 5/5, what's that all about?
I wonder if they'll stay that way.
Well, it's very interesting because, of course, we've often talked about sort of rescaling of fight value and the like, and maybe Numenorians go up to 5, and
or even if they just come back down to Corsair levels, just they're ferocious pirates. Does 2 attacks do that for them?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Do they need to be the same as elves?
Well, it's an interesting point because, of course, in banter, in passing, I chucked in the whole, well, as long as you make Night of the Pale on Fight 6, I'm happy, kind of thing. And Adam made a very interesting point, and he was like, well, the Fight 6 thing is supposed to be the whole kind of Numenorian blood kind of side, and that's how he sees it, that kind of Numenorian blood side of things.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'd make Aragorn Fight 7, if you look at the new Hobbit stuff, that's what I would do. And he was like, well, actually, the original Fellowship is written so well that kind of seems to be the benchmark to build everything else from.
Yeah.
So that's probably not going to happen. But then if you look at it and go, well, then why is a Corsair Reaver 5 in that matter? I think elite men being 4 is okay, and then if you but Rangers of the North or Old Numenorians being 5 would be great. Yeah. That would be cool. But yeah, Corsair Reaver's an interesting one. Look who it is. Oh, it's just got chilly in here. It's got a little bit frosty. It's Core Steve.
Well, ticket touting Steve. Top Table Wargaming says, amid all the hype of the recent awesome news from Adam Troke and his team at Games Workshop, I personally would like to thank the GBHL team for their hard work and dedication over the last couple of years. You guys, James, Jamie, Damien and Tom, are more than faces on a screen. I'd like to thank you now, good friends of mine. You can thank that, Steve. So on behalf of all the rest of us, thank you guys and keep it up. Big love, winky face.
You soppy boy.
I know, right? Get working on the Prancing Pony.
Oh, yeah.
Finish that. Why don't you spend this time commenting, finishing your projects?
Do you know what? I'm looking forward to that.
I know, it's going to be so good.
Have you seen any of them in the flesh?
Not in the flesh. No, I've seen some of his buildings in the flesh from Frostgrave, but it's not been a while.
Oh, he's another level. That Ammon hen. I want to play on it so badly. It's so cool. And he's sold out now. You can try and find a few more spaces.
Yeah, he posted that today, didn't he?
I'm guessing that you'll only find another. Although I looked, I was like, my name's not on there, Steve. What are you doing? I might not even be allowed to come to the tournament. I have to come and watch. How grim would that be? But he's going to try and find a couple of places. So I'd have your fingers on the pulse, people. That's going to be a cool tournament. Thank you very much. That's a lovely post. Thank you.
Next up is the GBHL podcast.
Which one? Which one of us? A question. Favourite? Oh, it's Tom.
It's Tom. Yeah.
I love it that he signs off in a separate reply.
Idiot. Look at it.
You just know that every single time that Damien sees that, he's just like, oh God.
Yeah. He's done it again.
This is what I have to work with. Question. Favourite moment at Throne of Skulls tournament, in and out of game? Cheers. Great British Middle Earth League, guys. Yeah, that's not good. Winky face. Separate post. Tom. Favourite moment at the Throne of Skulls tournament, in and out of game?
In game, I've got 2. One was the Dwimmerlake killing a dwarf king in combat.
What?
1-on-1.
That shouldn't happen. Was he like transfixed?
No, he was trapped.
Trapped. Okay.
And my other being a Baron White paralysing a captain of Delambroth, charging into him and killing him in 6x4s.
That's good.
Thanks to them doubling up his fate. No, you can't use that.
That's cool. Although I did see a picture where you had to paralyse someone's whole army.
Oh yeah, Billy's.
Cool.
Billy's. So sorry, Billy. We both needed that game to be over quick though, I think. That was first game on Sunday morning.
Oh yeah, good shout.
We charged up, we seized the prize, and I was like, well, Sapwill, Bayorn, paralysed. Oh, he's paralysed, cool. Next turn, Radagast came in, Nature's Wrath, I think I doubled up his will, and he cast it on a 2, and he was like, well, it's 2 points of might that I might double up again. He's like, I'll leave it. And the Sapwill paralysed that, and he couldn't resist. I was like, oh, sorry. And we weren't sure what happened, because it's the only time it could really happen is that you're knocked prone, and so we're like, right, I've paralysed the model, what happens? Because you're not prone, and obviously he takes a thrown rider. So are both paralysed? Or is
like the horse? Or you mean the eagle?
The eagle, because that's an eagle.
That's interesting.
So Billy said, well, I think they'd both be paralysed because you paralysed the model and they both just break apart. I was like, alright, well if you say that, cool.
Sounds right.
Then the other Baron White walked forwards and was
because you can't target you can't paralyse them out, can you?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But it's the only time it ever happens because everything else just runs away, I guess except a Warg's courage test maybe.
Yeah.
And then the Baron White walked forwards and was like, oh, Treebird, have a paralyse, why not?
Oh.
And then he failed to resist it and didn't have the might to do it. I was like, oh, sorry.
That sounds cool.
And then a Warhog just ran forwards, picked up the prize and got off.
I think that paralyse also brought me one of my favourite moments.
Oh yeah.
I was in a game versus Richard Clammer, who had sort of Druzag, Shelob, Spider Queen, Ashrak, and a million Venomback spiders, which is
nice.
Which was awful for my army to try and take on. Although I did think that I would kill Druzag, it just didn't happen because it was the rescue.
Right. Oh,
and I well thought I'd get him, and the 3 hunters just didn't do it. AMA got smashed. Got absolutely smashed. But my favourite moment was that he'd actually painted up a couple of Mirkwood spiders because he wanted to use the rules for the woods kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
And sort of partway through the game we kind of remembered this, and the 3 hunters were scrapping with Druzag, Ashrak, a million Venomback spiders, and Shelob in the ruins in the middle, which wasn't going particularly great for them. And but then on the outside I had my Rohirrim and Spider Queen, some spiders who came after them, and that wasn't going particularly well either because obviously Brides of Rohan fight 3 and Venomback spiders are fight 4.
Well, which spiders are fight 4?
Yeah. What?
Makes sense.
What?
Yeah.
What?
They're giant spiders.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they've got good skill in battle. I was devastated. I was smashing them really good.
Spent 5 re-rolling
wounds.
Won the fight. Effectively 4 dice, needing 1 4+.
Spider Queen gets in on like 3 riders of Rohan. I'm like, oh god, this is bad. But then we have to do all that wood thing, and lo and behold, a 6 is rolled, and the spider appears. And then because of the way that it was, I controlled it in the shooting phase.
Yeah.
I rolled a 6 to paralyse the Spider Queen, who
got no fate.
She got no fate, and promptly got like chopped to pieces by 3. In fact, they'd already been knocked off their horse. I think there was only 1 rider who hadn't charged in. She charged him, and then 2 like basically warriors of Rohan on foot just destroyed her.
Yeah, she goes down so quickly.
Oh, it was hilarious. And of course Richard went on to smash me in that game. Yeah. So it was, that was one of my best moments. So yeah, it was very, very cool, very, very cool, and completely unexpected. Out of game.
I don't really remember it, but Roxy.
Yeah, Roxy was good fun.
It was good.
I mean, the seminar was great.
Yeah.
I think we kind of expected some of the things in a way, but it was nice to hear it all out loud, which is cool. But going out with all of the members of the community is always good fun, isn't it? So we had a good time. So the next one. Right, hang on a minute. Look who it is.
Oh, it's on behalf of someone though. It's our new Lord of Middle Earth.
Sire.
Stripped away from James Long, who held on to it for so long because there were no events to take it off him.
Your Majesty, Mr. Pickard. He has put, this question is from Dan Entwistle, who can't get onto YouTube on account of being in Africa. Oh yeah, because he posted on Facebook. I was like, we're not going to remember to go on Facebook, buddy. Possibly a controversial question, but maybe also an interesting one. What do you think of players using their army lists as a reason they perform not so well at events, instead of looking at ways to improve? There are players who can take honestly awful lists, looking at you, J. Claire, and still perform very well. What would you suggest to these players for them to improve? Thanks guys, I'll be thinking on a question for next week. That's a really good question.
Yeah, so it's blaming your army for your poor performance in games, isn't it? That's what the question is. Like, how do you improve as a player rather than just falling back on blaming your list?
Yeah, because
there is a level of player skill, which is why the same faces and names appear at the top sort of 15 or so of the Great British Hobbit League.
Yeah, it is a game that we've said time and time again lends itself to good player skill over necessarily just taking broken lists. It's not like a game where there's sort of really hard counting. Yeah, I mean there are powerful lists, so there are, but you will get a very good player, like a top player, taking
Sauron and 10 Spectres is J. Claire's list that he took and did very well with.
Exactly, or even taking things like the Fellowship or something like that. A good player will do well with that.
Yeah.
Above maybe an inexperienced player or someone just getting into the game who tries to take 3
shamans or 3 ring raids on
Feral Beasts and stuff like that. Exactly. So those kind of things will tend to prevail over. And if you look at anything in life, in order to improve, you have to be willing to take a good hard look at yourself at times and sort of look at your own weaknesses and go, right, what did I do there?
But I think what people need to do is mostly, as a player, learn the scenarios, learn how to win scenarios. Which is why I think I managed to do well at Stirling with the 9, because I was able to know the scenarios, know when 25% is, know when 50% is. Obviously with that force, I can force myself to those numbers, and I can go, right, so if I break myself, I give them 3 VPs, but as long as I've nuked the general with black dart and I'm on this objective, I will win this game, irregardless of the fact that I've just, brought myself down to 25%.
Absolutely.
Which is why I managed to win 2 out of the 3 games with them, and I think if I'd have played someone other than Dave Nolan's all-hero list in Lords of Battle, I would have been able to get a win then as well.
Yeah, I think this sort of vein of discussion that we've talked about for a couple of years now. Knowing how to win the scenarios is a big part of playing the game. I mean, I guess the one kind of time you kind of maybe have a little look at your list in retrospect after and kind of break down. I mean, you don't blame the list, but you could kind of look at it and go, maybe that wasn't the right type of list to take to that type of tournament that had those scenarios in that kind of order. Because that list isn't going to necessarily perform as well against these things at this point, and is more likely to come up against these things. So that's the kind of time you can look at it. But generally, one of the reasons why it's a fantastic system is because it rewards good player skill over just taking powerful armies. It's not to say that isn't part of the game.
No, not at all. But I still think another example. The No My Angmar over the weekend managed to win 4.5 of its games. And I think even Tom Pickard here would say that if I'd wanted to, playing him in Reconnoiter where I actually lost, I could have, or we drew, no we lost, I could have won because I had 8 Felwargs that could have deployed on the extremity of the 6x4 board against his dwarves and just gone off and got 8 VPs.
Exactly. Well, look at a good example, maybe even my own Throne of Skulls. The 3 hunts on foot and Rise of Rohan and AMA Master of the Riddermark. Would I take that over if I'm competing for Team GB over at Nova? Would I take that and trying to compete? Probably not. Probably not. Great fun to play with though, and it still won 5 games. Yeah. Admittedly, certain things happened in those games, but you know what I mean. It's it rewards that, and even when you see. Jake Clary is a good example. Bringing when he brought his the Camel Army. Yeah. not great, but he did really well with it because he knows how to play the game, he knows how to try and win the scenarios, he knows what it kind of takes to do that. It's the same when I've been like the ringer and you gave me the thing,
breaking the fellowship.
There are armies that really should maybe beat that, but the game rewards some form of player skill. Yeah. Which, I mean, finishing with the Lord of Middle Earth is one hell of a way to finish a Speak Funny Question. How do you find being in the mines?
It's still cold.
It's still cold. It smells a little bit. At any moment we could be dragged from where we are sat on these rocks, dragged into the water.
Oh no.
I know. How are you at the swimming?
I'm fine.
You're right.
I'm a decent swimmer.
Yeah, I reckon we take him. What do you reckon?
No. God, no.
I could do some cool green screen thing here where they just put on the ring and disappear.
You're not wearing green though. You need to come back in a green morph suit.
No, I can still do it.
Oh, could you?
Yeah, I found a way. Hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Speak Funny Question, especially a long one because of course we've got loads of questions and we want this to continue. This is a 702 view, 54 like video as it stands right now with 50 comments, and if you engage with the Speak Funny Question like that each kind of week, then we can only go from strength to strength, and this is a great show for getting new players into the game, so keep supporting it. Jamie, it's been great to see you.
Thank you.
Wonderful to have you back here.
Indeed.
And I think that we're going to go and film some other content over for Hot Gates Gaming and maybe the GBHL podcast. Yeah. So you guys know what to do. Don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter.
Support your Hobbit hosts by checking the links in the video description below.
Support your Hobbit hobby.
And happy strategy battle gaming.